Cyclone Idai has battered Mozambique's coastal city of Beira, leaving over 500,000 residents without electricity and communications. Idai is considered as one of the worst storms to hit the country in a decade. Meanwhile, the Mozambique's Federation of Tourism and Hotels has confirmed that all flights to the north of the country have been halted due to the bad weather. The South African Weather Service says significant rainfall and widespread flooding can be expected over extreme eastern parts of Zimbabwe and the southern parts of Malawi over this weekend.
Right, frightening images there. To discuss the weather in Mozambique and actually other parts of southern Africa, I'm now joined by meteorologist Azwi Tuwani. Thanks very much for joining us, Azwi.
Thank you.
Scary images that we saw in Mozambique, and sadly we've seen this before. What is it about this part of the world that creates this kind of weather pattern?
Well, it is mainly because of the warm waters that we have and the situation, like the geographical position of where it is. This is where they normally develop, and they have a specific trajectory that they always follow. So it's mostly moving into Mozambique, stretching to Zimbabwe, and most of the time to South Africa, and some of them just remain in Madagascar and die out in the ocean. But with this one, well, it is well developed. It has moved to the coast of Mozambique, sitting over the interior, and we're expecting it to move into the interior of Zimbabwe as well.
So in simple terms, what's a cyclone?
Well, a cyclone, it is a large-scale air mass that rotates around a strong center of a low atmospheric pressure.
All right, so it's actually what's happening. It's just air that's spinning.
It's air that's spinning, and because of moisture, so it develops into a cloud, which means that small water droplets develop into that spinning movement. And then that's where we expect lots and lots of rainfall, because those droplets, they keep on growing and growing. That's why the cloud becomes visible into a human eye. And then as it moves, it keeps drawing lots of moisture. You can see part of it is still in the ocean. So there's still lots of moisture coming from the ocean into the cloud. So we expect lots and lots of rainfall from there.
So what happens to this cyclone once it reaches land? Does it change its nature?
Yes, it changes because it doesn't have lots of energy anymore, because it draws most of its energy from the ocean. So as it moves inland, it starts to die out. But with this one, it will remain active for 36 hours, meaning that it will be a tropical depression over Mozambique, moving to Zimbabwe, and still the effects are almost similar, but the wind speed is not excess of 200 anymore. It will be around 100 and going below. Which
is still quite dangerous, isn't it?
Extremely dangerous.
So
extremely
what kind
dangerous.
of damage could we see with winds of that speed and that strength?
Well, the damage that we can see, like we have seen in Malawi and currently what we are seeing in Beira, this is what happened. You can see trees being uprooted, a whole lot of rubble over the area, and roofs being removed, and houses just being destroyed. So a whole lot of damage can be expected, and roads being eroded, and dams as well, overflowing of water on streams and moving into the living areas.
So this is the coast of Mozambique, but it's moving overland all the way to Zimbabwe.
It's moving to Zimbabwe, yes. It's heading towards Zimbabwe, and we are expecting lots of rainfall as well.
What do we expect in South Africa with this cyclone?
Well, we can all smile on TV and say, hey, because we're not expecting it to affect us. So it's just moving from Mozambique, moving to Zimbabwe, and we're expecting it to die out as it moves towards the northern parts of Zimbabwe, going to Zambia or something like that.
Is it seasonal?
Yes, it is seasonal. It is seasonal. There's a picture that I had. Let me try and get it. So in this picture, you will see that it develops in the southern hemisphere from Jan going to March. So now we're still in March. So it has developed, so it is seasonal, and it is in season of it. So there's nothing strange happening, and its strength, yes, is still what we expect from a tropical cyclone. So in different areas, it develops in different times. You can see August going to October, going to the USA.
All right, so we're hearing that the cyclones reached Manicaland in Zimbabwe, which is on the border with Mozambique. I suppose it's expected. How many more hours? I think you said 36 hours earlier.
It will be there. It will be active for 36 hours. So we're expecting lots of rainfall over Zimbabwe starting tomorrow and overnight tonight. So going to tomorrow, we'll see lots of rainfall. And excess of 100 millimeters in 24 hours. And in some areas, if it happens in 1 hour, that's where we're talking of floods. And now again, do not forget super strong winds still. So trees can still be uprooted in Zimbabwe and flooding again. But in formal areas, and sometimes, well, they can be able to survive. But in formal areas, and those guys who build their houses next to streams, they're in extreme danger.
And some of this flooding, I mean, it's not just rain coming down. I suppose when it hits the coastline, it pushes up the waters going in.
Gale force winds as well, and high seas. We had up to 7 meters high seas and super strong gale force winds that was moving along the coastal areas of Mozambique. But a better story for Zimbabwe because there is no ocean, so such will not happen like high seas, but strong winds can still be expected.
Are these winds so strong and dangerous that we should fear as cars, I suppose, when trees are falling? But it's not. I mean, if you're driving a small smart car, for example, it can blow you.
It can blow it away. Remember, with a tornado, it can blow it away, and this one can be similar as well. So if you're driving a small car, just be very careful, or any other car whatsoever. Just be very careful. Stay away from wet roads, and again, just make sure you don't drive at this time. Just wait for it to dissipate or move away, then you can drive. Keep on listening to your radios. Most people of Zimbabwe and Mozambique should be listening.
And there's no danger of things like lightning with this kind of weather pattern?
There is. It can happen as well. Everything comes with this. Remember, it's a storm that comes with a low pressure system. So everything keeps on happening. There is convection and lots of rainfall expected. Severe thunderstorms can also be expected, but not much of hail, but we can still get super lightning with this.
All right. So still some energy there, but is the worst over? Is things starting?
The worst is over, as we're not expecting wind speeds to be in excess of 200 kilometers per hour. So the wind speeds are lower, because the most dangerous part of it right now is the wind speeds. The rainfall, we expect that the water channels will quickly move the water away, but again, there's still that chance that there might be flooding, as we're expecting lots and lots of rainfall in a short period of time.
All right, and then perhaps finally, beyond the 36 hours, what's the kind of weather that we normally expect post a cyclone?
We can expect normal weather. It will clear up and open up. It starts to get warm. It's just that on the ground, it won't be looking good. Remember, with all that rubble and wet pods and all the devastation that would have received from the strong winds. So it's not going to look good, but the sky will open up and we'll see some sun. But there's still a chance that some more rain can still develop, as the low pressure system will still having some parts of it sitting over Zimbabwe and moving away.
All right, well, let's watch what happens in the next 36 hours. Azwi, thanks very much indeed for giving us some insights on this cyclone that's caused so much devastation already, particularly in Mozambique, and now it's hit land. Its energy has subsided, but it's still powerful winds that can cause some dangerous effects as well, consequences. So be careful out there, but let's come back to terra firma. And Palesa, what do you have for us?